What is a finite state machine? Let's first look at the definition of what it is. A finite state machine is a computation model that can be implemented with hardware or software and can be used to simulate sequential logic and some other computer programs. It is a mathematical abstraction used to design algorithms. Okay, so that might be a little bit hard. So let me explain it further. Imagine a machine where there are only two states, and the machine can only be in one state at a time. Normally, the machine will stay in a certain state. It will remain in this state until something triggers it. We call this trigger an event. When an event happens, it will trigger the state to change. When in the second state, the machine will wait for the next trigger to return to the first state. This continues in the loop on and on.
Let's take a look at some real-life analogy of a finite state machine. The image is a simple FSM. Each circle represents a state, and an arrow represents an event or action. There are three states: work, home, and bed. Basically, positions you stop at. So imagine you're at home, getting ready to get to work. You take the train to get there, and then you arrive at work. You've transitioned from work to home. To go back, you transition from work to home. You can probably understand the rest by looking at the image shown. The cycle basically repeats: home, train, work, train, home, sleep, bed, wake, home. But before going any further into the examples of finite state machines, let's briefly look at its history.
History. First of all, the finite state machine and finite state automaton refer to the same thing. Their abbreviation are FSM and FSA, so keep in mind that they are the same thing. Let's go through the daily part. The finite state machine is part of the automata theories, where it was first described in 1943 by neurophysiologists Warren McCullough and logician Walter Pitts. The study was done to model the thought process of humans and computers. Later on, this theory was further researched by computer scientists G.H. Milley and E.F. Moore between 1955 to 1956, and we still use it till this very day.
Finite state machine is used throughout our daily life, both in software and hardware. For the example of a traffic light, there are three states: red, yellow, and green. The initial state is when the lights settle at a color after a given time, which is the event. Red will change to green, then green to yellow, and yellow to red. For the next example, the coin-operated turnstile, there are two states in the finite state machine: lock and unlock. Initially, the turnstile is in lock state, but whenever there is an input, a coin, it causes the turnstile to be unlocked. And after that, by pushing the turnstile and letting the consumer through, the turnstile transitions back through the lock state again. Then it loops on and on.
And that concludes the end of our presentation, Finite State Machine. Hope you guys learned something.